It's my pleasure today to introduce the final Masterclass session of the day for Boundless 2021. We've got a great topic and a fabulous guest here today. Patrick Downs is the Sales Enablement and Training Manager at PandaDock, an industry-leading document automation company that takes the grunt work out of managing proposals, contracts, and signatures. In addition to overseeing sales training operations at PandaDock, Patrick also hosts their wonderful podcast. And he's here today to talk about how to align your CRM and sales documents into a single platform in order to save time, close deals faster, and collaborate across teams. Patrick is going to kick things off with a 30-minute demo where he'll show you how to use talk to you about how to use PandaDoc and Nutshell to send and track your documents while moving your leads through the sales pipeline. After that, I'll join Patrick for a quick fireside chat to cover some of the most common questions we get about integrating these softwares and tools. So without further ado, proud to welcome to the Boundless 2021 virtual stage, Patrick Downs.
Eric, I need to get you to do the intro to my podcast, man. That was very smooth. Thank you for that. I appreciate
My pleasure,
it.
anytime.
I'm happy to be here. I'll take it away. So today, I'm going to be talking about how to nail the getting the signature part of your sales process. A lot of people talk about prospecting. A lot of people talk about how to run a deal cycle, but we don't get a lot about the actual getting the signature. And I'm going to talk about how using Nutshell and PandaDoc, you can get that done quicker and more efficiently. So starting out, what exactly is PandaDoc? Good question, disembodied voice. What PandaDoc is it exists in 4 markets and provides 4 very unique experiences depending on what your team needs. It helps you with quotes, proposals. It helps you with e-signatures and closing deals. It helps you with contract management and collaboration before you send out a big contract with your legal team. And it helps you with billing and invoicing to collect payments once you've sent out your sales contract. What that actually does and the impact of it is threefold. It decreases the time to close. Most of our customers are seeing that decreasing by about 30%. It doubles the closed deals per month, and it decreases your document creation time by about 65%. These impacts are huge because most salespeople, when they talk to me, are saying that they spend a lot of their time admin work, whether that be in Salesforce or their other tools, and they want to get back to selling as soon as possible. Using something like PandaDoc will allow you to do that. The cool thing about tools nowadays is they don't exist in a vacuum. Everything is in a huge ecosystem. And when you use something like PandaDoc to help get signatures and control your sales process, you get integrations into all the biggest tools like Google Drive, Microsoft Word, PayPal, Zapier, and Nutshell, of course, like we're talking about today. If you're not familiar with Zapier, very cool. It's like a software glue and no-code system that allows you to interact with thousands of other softwares that might not have native integrations. Definitely check out the free trial if you can. Going to put out a question to the audience here. Feel free to put it in the chat, and I'll start this out. But how do your reps right now create a document? Just to kick us off, right before I went to PandaDoc, I worked at a software company that sold to transportation agencies. If I wanted to send out a document, the first step was to go into Google Drive, find an old copy of a contract, make a copy of it. And then once I've done that, I hit find and replace to go and look for the account name, make sure that gets changed to the new account name. And then I'd have to go in and make sure all the acronyms get changed, then look at the quote, go back to Excel, copy, paste the table into the document, clip that into a PDF, put it into an email, and send it out. Then from there, if the person received it, I would have to have them print it out, sign it manually, scan it back in, fax it to us, or email it back. This process could sometimes take 3 to 4 days, and it was a huge pain. Yeah, Suzanne, exactly. Google Docs, that's where a lot of people are starting now. And the steps in that process are just too long, and it takes too much time. If I'm a sales rep and I'm on a call with somebody, especially if I'm in a transactional sales cycle, I want to be able to get them the proposal, ideally on the call or within, let's say, a week. Right? I was sometimes taking 6 or 7 days to get back to them because of this process. Life before integrating your business documents in CRM is not good. But once you do that, you see a couple key benefits. Big one is workflow. You have your reps working only out of Nutshell or whatever CRM you use. You're able to see if people are even opening it within your CRM. You're able to get it out very quickly, and you're able to give your clients a really personalized experience. I'm going to go into a little detail around a G2 Crowd report that we did where we talk about the state of the deal. Clients right now, because they're experiencing so many sales pitches, are experiencing more need for personalization. And having an automation tool can scale personalization. So there are certain things that you can plug into the document automatically that allows you to personalize it without spending a lot of time, as well as a content management system that will allow you to save a bunch of smaller snack size content that you can reuse later. So what does PandaDoc's Nutshell integration specifically do? Specifically, it allows you to build sales documents with an automatic product transfer in Nutshell. What that means is that you can use the product tool that's already in Nutshell. For example, if you sell like a SaaS product, then you could take your business plan or whatever your standard plan is, attach it to the deal, and then when you create the document, it will automatically transfer into the pricing table. So you don't have to worry about quoting in another tool or having your reps copy paste and have a mistake, or God forbid, doing it by hand. This can also help cut down on approvals. I had to have an approval in my job before because there was no standardization in the way we did pricing. I was just pulling it from a spreadsheet. So my boss had to check every document. By having it just use the products that are in Nutshell that are pre-approved, you don't have to worry about approvals, which means your documents can get out quicker. I mentioned that PandaDoc also has a content management system. That is awesome because you can easily leverage sales collateral like a case study, a scope of work, a video, a demo, and put it right inside your documents while you're inside of Nutshell. And because of the integration with our e-signature tool, you can send it out for signature right within Nutshell again without having to leave the platform. This is just a little look at what it looks like. We embed it into the lead company or people object. And on the right-hand side, you can see you can create a new document from within the CRM. You can also see a full list of related documents. You'll see the sent status there. This is neat because I mentioned that I'd be waiting on documents quite a bit when I would send them out and I have no idea what's happening. If it gets opened, it'll change to viewed and it will tell you when it was viewed so you can tell when they actually looked at the document. And then when you click on it and open up within Nutshell, you can actually view what pages were looked at, how long they spent on it, etc. This is cool because if you have like a pricing page and the person's spending 30 minutes on the pricing page, you can call them up at that moment and take advantage of the fact that they're in front of their computer looking at your document. So Patrick, this all sounds great, pie in the sky. How do I actually execute this? The first step is to start with a template. A lot of people are recreating the wheel every time when they create a document. You always want to have a template. With PandaDoc, you can use something called variables. You'll see in the background here, highlighted in yellow. These are little placeholder texts that cut out double, triple, quadruple entry. And when you're integrating with Nutshell, you can pass key data like the account name or the email or what have you into the document automatically, preventing errors. I had a situation in the past where I would use an acronym for a business name I was selling to and I used the wrong one. It cost me a deal because they saw that I wasn't personalizing it to them. So as long as the integrity of my CRM data in Nutshell is good, I don't even have to worry about double checking the document. It's got me, and I don't have to worry about coming off as unprofessional. Also, you want to automate as much as possible. Make sure you're using your CRM's products. I've run into a lot of sales leaders and operation leaders who do not store their products inside of their CRM. This is 100% must-have. PandaDoc integrates into the lead, people, and company object, like I said, but you can also pull all of this data here, the SKU, the name, the price, the discount, right from Nutshell into the document, so you don't have to worry about copying and pasting from somewhere else. I teased at the start that we did this G2 Crowd report, and we talked about the state of the deal right after COVID hit. Things were changing quite a bit, and the buyers were getting a little pickier. From doing a lot of prospecting myself, I've noticed that the generic templates don't really get a lot of love. People are really expecting salespeople to go above and beyond since the volume of emails has gone so far up. So it's really important that our documents as well as our emails reflect this. I mentioned before that the way you can do that is by automatically using variables to scale your personalization. So the name, company name, type of business, that can all be inputted into your CRM and automatically transferred over to the document. You can also continue to track the document progress in Nutshell. So I'd mentioned before, you could see the amount of time, but another cool thing is being able to see when it was downloaded, if it was forwarded. Forwarding is really interesting because we have a feature called commenting where you can communicate with a group of buyers or prospective buyers on your document. And if they decide to forward the email or forward the document to someone else, they get automatically CC'd into that conversation and added to the proposal. And then you could see their email. So at this point, I could go into one of my data integrity tools like Zoom Info and find their phone number and call them and see how they're involved. But the level of tracking you get here is pretty amazing. And it's very similar to something you would have like an email cookie tracker in Gmail. This is a lot, and it seems like it might be complicated to set up. There's some systems that you spend months on. And the cool thing about PandaDoc and Nutshell is it's native and it's easy just to plug it and go. It takes a couple seconds. You don't need any coding experience. You don't need to pull any of your engineers off. You just click a button on the back end, make sure your variables match up, and you're good to go. It's pretty amazing considering when I'd used tools in the past, it could sometimes take 6 months to set up. Being able to just hit a button is key. But that's it for me. Eric, do you want to get to the questions, my friend?
Yeah, here we are. Let me join back in. Well, thanks, Patrick. That was a wonderful presentation. Really feel like a lot of our audience can come away from this knowing some new things and being able to work this into their workflow. So I had some topics that I thought, after using the product a bit myself and listening to your presentation that I thought would be great. Do you mind if I start off with one of my questions?
Hit me with it, man.
Perfect. So we all know that having things written and signed, helps businesses, especially if maybe a customer tries to act on bad faith or change the terms of the deal after the fact. Do you have any personal experiences or, experiences with some of your clients where having things written and signed ahead of time came back to help them out later on?
Oh, yeah. I mean, specifically, I think the problem comes with how they store the documents. Like people will get something. Sometimes I've even seen people just use an email where they'll like say, hey, email back, I accept. and that's the entire agreement. And that can come back and bite you in the butt really bad, especially if you do anything physical. Like I work with a lot of contractors and people that work on homes and stuff. And if something goes wrong with that work, especially like legal issues can come in. And then when you start dealing with enterprise software, there's so many compliance agreements inside of like a standard MSA that if you don't have it legally signed off on, you can get into some serious legal trouble. I've seen some people up to like millions of dollars in lawsuits because of that.
I hear you. And I'm glad you brought up contractors with properties. I used to help manage properties myself before getting in the software industry. And so got to have everything in the fine print. We had situations where people would, it says in the lease that you're taking care of the lawn. And, if the city gives us a fine because the lawn's not taken care of, it says right there who's responsible for that. All right. So that was great, informative. Let's move on to the next one. One of the things that I was wondering about is, why you took the care to make your product able to integrate with so many other products, because that's just an awesome feature. Like you said, it took me a couple quick clicks to be able to integrate PandaDoc with Nutshell, and just the ease of access was so great and makes it so much more universally applicable to everybody who's looking to get this type of service in their business.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important that PandaDoc is just part of a big ecosystem. Part of the value of it is the workflow part. We talk about like WISE is our acronym, and workflow is probably the most important. So being able to access it from anywhere is key. We don't want anyone spending time going between tabs. It's just not good. I mean, I talked about how you had to like go into Excel, copy the quote, put it into the document. So many errors can happen depending on where you end up pasting something. So the more that we can just live inside of other systems and also think of PandaDoc as like an extension of other sales tools, the better for our clients.
Perfect. Great. So one other question that I had personally, and then, we can turn to the audience and see if they have some questions as well. But, Going through a PandaDoc, it's obvious that there's a lot of cool features that can really benefit businesses that work this into their workflow. Are there any cool features that you think the average user might accidentally overlook in the system?
Forwarding, I mentioned, that's something that's not very obvious. But another one is we have this reminder system. And as a salesperson, I think we've all experienced following up and then getting yelled at. And it's not a fun experience. And with our documents, once you send them out, we have auto reminders that go out, and PandaDoc will actually bug your prospect on your behalf. So it doesn't say Eric is reaching out to you to say, hey, John, sign the document. It says PandaDoc is asking you to sign this agreement. So it's this cool like third-party feature that allows you to bug people a little bit, especially if they told you they're going to sign on Friday. It's Friday at 4:45. You're freaking out. I'm going to hit the send reminder button, and it's going to tell them, hey, sign the document. I've had a lot of deals end of quarter close that way, and a lot less people find it annoying than if I was just to email them over and over.
That is such a subtle nuance that I had no idea about, and I'm so glad that we were able to have this conversation today so that I can learn that from you, because you're right. Nobody wants to be that guy who keeps pestering about the signature. So the fact that your service can help do that on our behalf is just an amazing little touch on an already amazing product. All right, so we have some really cool questions here from over on the chat side. Our friend Bennett over here asked, does PandaDoc replace the services like DocSend and DocuSign?
Yes, it does. DocuSign is a competitor of ours. It's very similar. It's an e-signature tool. We're pretty feature paired with them. DocSend, it's somewhat similar. DocSend is more of like a deal room where there's like a lot of collaboration going on between you and your client. We have probably about like 70% of those features, but we do have the ability to create from templates, send a link, have people open up and complete documents and collaborate on them via chat inside of PandaDoc as well.
And plus, as you mentioned, your service is really easy to integrate with so many other services, which I really love and appreciate about it. All right, I have another question from Michael Smith. He asked, would I be able to import my own templates from Keynote?
So Keynote is not a format that we currently accept, but you can create your own templates from scratch. We also have an onboarding team that has a design component. So if you give us what your templates look like in Keynote, our onboarding team can take them and create them for you in PandaDoc's format and replicate it one-to-one inside of our system.
Awesome. I love that. That's great that you have a team that's going to be ready to help people transfer their data into the system as they need it.
Yes.
All right. Looks like we have about one more question in here for the day. If anybody else has an extra question, you can drop it in the Q&A. But for now, it looks like we have this one last one. Let me just read it over real quick. All right. So Laura asks, they can create a proposal document in PandaDoc, and it will connect to their leads in Nutshell. And send personalized email with. Can it send the personalized email with the attachment as well? And then can this be? Sorry, and then I'll just say, can this be done by bulk, or do they need to do it one by one?
So it can. The way PandaDoc works is you can either just share a link, or you can send it via email. And it will personalize the email for you. It'll have the name of the document, their name, etc. And then you can save different notes that you want to use and reuse them. And it'll say like, hey, John, sending you this note. He says, please sign by 5 o'clock today or whatever it's going to say. And you can send in bulk. So we have a bulk send feature that you can put in like a list of whoever you want it to go out to and then automatically populate them with data as well.
Awesome. And we actually have a follow-up question or two for that. I know that I really enjoyed the personalization feature when I was sending out documents myself through Nutshell. I think the fact that it brings most of the things in there for you and then allows you to kind of control the message from there is a really useful tool. The follow-up questions that we have are, does PandaDoc connect to Google Drive? And what other types of documents can be created other than proposals?
PandaDoc does have a Google Drive integration. You can upload documents and put fields for signing on the documents. And as far as document types, it's pretty much a blank canvas. So I've seen pretty much any document type you could think of: contracts, proposals, quotes, scope of works, HR new hire forms, financial documents, insurance forms, whatever it is that you can think of, you can use PandaDoc to create them because we have an editor that can make pretty much anything.
Awesome. Well, Patrick, I think that is going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for taking the time to come here and share this information with us. And I really do think that this is a huge beneficial tool. I know when people reach out to me and ask about eDocument and eSigns, I typically recommend them PandaDoc right away and give them links for the quick and easy setups. Is there anything that you just want to end on and share with our audience?
Drink more water, everybody. It's hard out there. A lot of people are in front of their screens a lot. Make sure you get up. Make sure you treat yourself well. Thank you for having me here.
It was a pleasure to have you here, Patrick. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope everyone at home enjoyed this presentation today as well. I know I did.
Thanks, sir. Have a good day, everybody.